morning. My name is Cosmic, and thank you for coming to my seminar at this early time of the day. And I'm going to show you some things about Zbrush version 4, release 5. There are many new amazing features in there, which make the creation process of 3D models and stuff much more easy than before. Maybe you know Zbrush was meant to be a tool for modeling organic stuff, but the range with the new tools went seamlessly from organic kind of modeling seamlessly to hard surface, razor-sharp models. And I'm also going to show you I'm creating jewelry and accessoires with Zbrush, and then I'm printing these out via rapid prototyping. This is stainless steel, and this is a chrome cobalt molybdenum infusion, and I'm going to show you some things. And also I'm going to show you some tricks how I do my compositing stuff when I'm doing 3D models or pictures for compos. And if you have any questions, just answer. You will be given a microphone, and you'll be given an answer. Just to give an overview, Zbrush is basically a painting tool, but instead of Photoshop, you don't have only the x-axis and the y-axis. It's called Zbrush because you use the depth information to paint with depth on the canvas. For example, if I take an alpha brush, alphas are grayscale images, and those areas where are brighter, there is more material applied onto the canvas than the darker ones. For example, I paint with this color and this material and this alpha, and I paint onto the canvas, and you get a depth like painting with oil on a canvas. That's the basic concept of Zbrush, where it started. You can grab these alphas, for example, grab dark, then you see you get depth information, and you can also work with, let's see, I raise the resolution a bit, and then I can apply my just created alpha on top of the model. That's the basic concept of Zbrush. You can take this, let me show you some examples what I'm doing. This takes 1 hour or so to create something like this. You can push and pull the material around. You can do wrinkle stuff. It's basically like working with clay in the digital realm. And as said, there are many new features. Say if you want to create lots of concepts of monsters or robots, yeah? And this I would start from scratch. And if I look at my hard drive, there are tons of heads and hands and body parts. And every time in the past, I had to start from the very beginning and couldn't really reuse the stuff I did. And there are so-called insert brushes used in Zbrush. The first idea behind this is I can insert, for example, spheres around this, right? But I can also slice this guy up, or if I have a character posed in a neutral pose, then I would slice it up, the hands, the fingers, the head, and so on and so forth. And to work with this, I can create a new, for example, I want to create a insert brush. Then I would slice the bottom from it, and then I would delete the hidden part, right? And now I orient the sphere with the open side to the back, and then I go here and say create insert mesh. Yes, I want to create a new insert mesh brush, and what this does is it creates a new brush in my brush palette, and I can use this for further sculpting. I can reposition this stuff, but the problem is these aren't connected, right? Let's start with a new sphere. And I hold down Control and mask this off. If you don't know ZBrush, masking can be used to mask off parts of your stuff. And if you move it, this part will be masked. But you can also use them to create new polygroups. I activate Polyframe here and press Ctrl W, and now I have a new polygroup created here. And if I then use my new created insert brush, and I start from a point in this area here, right? And I pull up the object, and I can place it, and then I do a so-called remeshing, and you get a decent topology here. You can smooth this up. And what can this be used for? Say, as I told you, if I'm having body parts, right? I do one character or 10, and I slice them up. And I have, for example, a set body parts. And this is a multi-mesh insert brush. This consists of a nose, mouth, ears, and so on and so forth. And I can use them to create another polygroup here. And if I say, okay, place this guy here, and remesh it, then you can use this to create, it's like playing with Lego. And you build your parts. It makes it so much more easier. If I start, I say, okay, today I want to make a monster. Then I work in symmetry mode, and I slice up my model and insert body parts, arms, where I haven't been thinking of. It's so cool creativity to. It gives you so much. It's a concepting tool, also, not just only working with polygons. The last year I told you about Dynamesh. It's if you start with a model and you push and pull these polygons around. I have the grid activated that you can see what I'm doing. And then you get these stretched polygons, right? And I can't, if I want to sculpt here, I have more resolution than down here. And they included a technique or a tool called Dynamesh. And if I activate this, my mesh will stay in the same shape, but will be internally remeshed. Say, if I pull some polygons out here, I lose resolution. I can smooth this, but I have no chance to apply greater details here. So I do a remesh, Dynamesh, and now I can work like clay, like I would apply a piece of clay onto my new part. And give me 1 second, please. new in ZBrush are the new slicing tools. Let's say I start again with a sphere, and I wanna just one word to this insert brush. You can also use the insert brush with a curve function. This is right up here, stroke, curve mode. And I can draw curves onto my model, and this is the new applied brush I just created before. And you can use this, you can slice up a model, for example a zipper. And this zipper consists of 3 parts, right? It starts with one polygroup, that's the beginning of the zipper, and one part is the end part, and one is a repeating pattern, and you can create. It's like a tool set. You create your start part. You create a part that's in the middle of the section, and at the end of it. And the workflow for this is just totally simple. You slice up your model. Slice curve 1, slice curve 2, right? I have 3 different polygroups here. And I say brush, create insert mesh. Then this would create a new brush as I showed you with this part. But if I slice up these parts into different subtools, right? They have to be in the right order. I don't think I'm in the right order right now. And then I click on Create Insert Multimesh. And then I can choose which part I want to work with. And there's an option where you can say use the brush as a modifier. No, it's at the alpha. Sorry, I'm still in it's too soon in the morning. But you get the idea. It's you have a start brush and the end brush, and the middle part repeats. Okay, what I'm doing with ZBrush is I create stuff like this. It's a ring I created, a ticky ring, a lower ticky curly cross, and I exported this one. I want to show you this. You can give it around, but please give it back to me. It's stainless steel, and I made this one to show to customers. And there's a tool called 3D print exporter, and you can say how much, how the height and the size of the bounding box is if you export this. And I started with in a Blender, and I measured my fingers and created reference tube cylinders for my fingers. And then I went into ZBrush and started to sculpt. I sculpted this at first in symmetrical mode, and I used the new spiral brushes that and added more detail and more detail and more detail. And then I exported this as an STL and sent this to the Netherlands to Shapeways, and they printed this out. It's metal particles mixed with wax, and then slide by slide printed out, and then this goes to the oven, and then the particles melt together like sintering a motor block, right? What can I show you? You can run into. Are there any questions yet? No? Cool. What's new about Zbrush? Okay, let's prepare a scene to show you some compositing techniques. Just for example, last year I created this guy. And it looks very complex, and but there are easy techniques behind it, just for the rendering. Zbrush has no physical correct render, but I use a simple technique and principles to get the best out of it. Just for example, I create something, I slice this guy up a bit. Let's say here. And these are the new slicing features. I just mirror this. Mirror and weld. So I got some polygroups. And you have the deformation, polishing features on you. The new polish by feature is if you have several polygroups, then you can slice them up to make them, to create hard surfaces. Let's start with a simple sphere. I start making a starship or something. Okay, I activate Dynamesh. I pull here and there. Just to get an interesting shape or something. Okay, I remesh this. And then we're going to slice this up later on. This is the organic part of Zbrush. This is nothing new. This was a long time fact that you can work with like clay, right? Okay, let's add some here. Okay, that's okay. And then I'm looking for shapes. I just hide one side of it, and then I'm using the new slice brushes to slice this guy up. Okay, let's go in there. Right, maybe here. I use a slice circle. And I'm just creating random shapes here. Maybe here. Right. And then I'm going to mirror this one. Right? And now I want hard edges. And I go down to the deformations palette and use the new polish by feature. Thank you. And now I polish on the edges of my model here. And as I said, I'm only looking for shapes, interesting shapes. And maybe I should pull this one out a bit. Okay. And maybe using the masking brush, let's have some more form here. Just an idea. And to get rid of this, I would say make polygroup from just my workflow. I want to make this into a new polygroup. Then I would inverse the mask and would say visibility, hide points, and say polygroup by group mask. And now I have a new polygroup, which I can apply the polish new feature, polish by feature, and then I get this hard surface back again. Okay, and now I want to, these are also new features called edge loop. And I go in there and I only want to show this guy here. I activate the display properties, double-sided. Now I want to extract this one. And back in the days, it was a hard process because I had to remesh these parts with Z-sphere techniques and so on. And now there are so-called panel loops. And you can adjust the thickness of it, you can the bevel edge, you can say how round the edge that is created should be. And if I click here on, I have only this one selected right now, and click on panel loops. And what this does, it extracts a razor sharp edge around here. I undo this and adjust the thickness of it a little bit. Panel loops. Looks a bit crappy, but I can fix this with polish, and I reduce the bevel a bit. Oh, oops, panel loops. And to clean this up, the gray part here is masked. I can use polish by feature again. And I can clean up this edge, right? And I would go down here and do this again with this part. Panel loops, extract, okay, this is good. Clean this up a bit. This is great.
So it's never going to leave the actual edge where it meets the other polygon.
Exactly. You can also. His question was, it doesn't. I have total control over the edge, but you can, if I activate polyframe here, you can also say how the crease value is. Let's say if I start with a new sphere, or let's start with a cube, right? And if I subdivide this or add new levels of detail, then I have smoothing activated here, and I click on divide, then I will get smooth edges, right? I undo this quick, and I hide, oh, this was the wrong part. Let's say, I want to have these edges, and I have a so-called crease slider. And I can adjust the angle and the steps when an edge in the dividing process starts to get smooth. And if I have the tolerance to 0 and crease level to 15, then I say crease. And if I subdivide this, then I still have the hard edge, right? This is I think is the answer to your question. You have control over your edges when you want to have control over them. As I said, the workflow from organic modeling, controlled and uncontrolled, to super razor sharp edges, controlled and uncontrolled, is now part of Zbrush. Pixelogic rules the world. I mean, there's Mari and there is Mudbox, but these tools are, if you have a graph and you have, on the one side, you have the organic part, and on the other side, the hard surface part, and you have in the vertical axis controlled via uncontrolled, because you want to have happy accidents to be creative, then this is, it's getting perfect, this tool. But one idea. Two really cool things. We had this, right? Yeah? And we had our insert brushes, and we can combine them with our curve function. And let's say I want to have screws around these edges. Huh? then there you can use the pre-built mesh insert brushes, like screws or so. Or you can apply them via the curve mode. This is the loose version, uncontrolled. But I also can say I want to have this edge, right? Say stroke, curve functions. I want to frame the edges. And then I can use my stroke. Oh, it was too much. I mean, isn't this amazing? You can edit the steps here. Curve step. And you can clean it up later. You can pick the single screws here, the parts. You can hide them, and so on and so forth. And this is how you can imagine how before getting these tools, it was hard work to do this. But it's not that much hard work that you see at first sight, right? I have some insert brushes here, repeating. I have these screws here, which catch light, which make this big, this one big. And 1 second, please. And this kind of model you can't use in an engine. It's obvious you have, I don't see the poly count here, it's 164 K on polygons. So you have to do some remeshing. Let's start with a new sphere. I just create a quick head or something so that you understand what I mean. 2 eyes, right? And done. This is not a model for animating, right? You don't have a good topology here. Okay, you need for the best thing is you have rings around the eyes to make them animatable around the mouth and so on and so forth. So the workflow for this would be, first of all, I would duplicate this subtool, and then there's a new feature called Cura Measure. And what this does is you can use a brush called Cura Measure Guides, and I would draw some guidelines around my areas where I want to have a new topology created, right? I would do this here, and I would do this here, and here, on top of the head. I think this is good. And then I would go to my geometry palette, and there's a Cura Measure feature. And it comes with a new version of Zbrush. Sorry. And if I click here on Cura Measure, I have a target polygon count which I want to Cura Measure to achieve. I can say I want to have the same poly count, a half or doubled. I can say how stiff my guidelines should be here. And I just stop talking and click on Cura Measure. And it does a pretty good job. It takes some time. And now I have 2 models. The other one was this one here. I turn this off. And you can see, you get a pretty decent looking mesh. We lost a bit of the if I compare these these ones, I switch to solo mode. It's not that clean anymore. It's a bit blurry, right? But I notice, and I created a copy of it first, and I go to my mesh, which has, what's the poly count? 20K on polygons. And now I go to geometry, And, oh, sorry, no. I go to Subtools and Project. And what this does, if I click Project, I can adjust the distance, a mean value. And if I click Project All, it looks at the objects that are in the hierarchy above it, and it projects all the information, digital painting, texture information from the top one to the bottom one. And this is pretty okay. I can raise the resolution here. Again, do another projection. And if I compare them, I turn off the poly frame mode. Yeah, we're getting there. You can clean up this one. And this closes the gap. If I start working as an artist with the limitation and the thinking about how it's going to work in an engine, if you want to animate a figure or a character, it has to meet conventions to be animatable, right? But if I start working on a concept, a monster with 3 heads or horns or whatever, then I'm stuck. I have always in the back of my mind, okay, I can't do this because it has to work like this. But Zbrush gives you the ability to work totally free, work with 10 millions of polygons at an arm there. And then, if it comes to production, then you go into the retopology process and do the technical stuff, right? I showed you my ring, and this is the a quality half a year ago. And please, can you show this around? And this is the new possible quality. Please don't lose it. You can't break it. It's super hard. But look at this. Just a few words about my compositing techniques. I can apply materials here, and I can click on render. I can adjust light settings and so on and so forth, right? But if I want to have one advice: get out of 3D as soon as possible. The real power lies in the post-processing process. Cool. Okay. Some people haven't seen it. I just load a model to show you what I mean, or just create something. I start with a sphere. Oh no, let's start with a cube. It's hard to tell what I'm doing. It's easier to show you. I activate Dynamesh here. I use the snake hook brush and pull out something here. I remesh the one. I use the spiral brush just to get something. And I can use, for example, masking. I can say use mask by cavity, right? And what this does is it looks where are gaps where dust can be held in a model, and I just click on mask by cavity. It's just a creative technique, and I grow this mask, I sharpen it. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for cool accidents. Okay, grow this mask, sharpen the mask. Okay, grow this mask, blur it a bit, and sharpen it again. This is okay. Now I have only one polygroup right now. Now I say group by group masked, right? This creates 2 polygroups based on the masking I just did, and I have thank you. And I have not so good looking edges, right? And in the old Zbrush version, there was a feature called groups loops. And what this does, I can say how much loops I want to have between these and how much it should be polished. And if I click group loops here, I get a remeshed version with super sharp, super clean edges, right? And let's say we want to add different materials here. I extract this a little bit, deformation, inflate this one, clean the edge, or insert an edge loop. Okay, we got something. I can also clean the edges up. I'm creating a model with two different polygroups to show you a compositing technique inside. Am I here again? Yeah, cool. Cool, I clean this up a bit. Cool. Now I split this one surface, no visibility. Grow all, no. Grow, and subtool, split hidden. Right? Now I have two subtools, this one and this one. And I apply different materials to these. Just to prepare a compositing technique I want to show you. I use, for example, this material, and I apply it to this one. Polypaint, activate. I fill this with mRGB information, color, fill object. I switch to my other subtool, and I want to apply, let's say, this material. I activate polypaint, colorize, mRGB, brush, color, fill object. Okay, now I have a mesh with different materials. This would be the normal approach. Now I would set up my lighting and render this out. But now I'm stuck with this. I have my material applied, and I don't have the ability to experiment with the stuff I just did. I want to be free even in the compositing process. So I start again, and I mix them up. I merge them, merge visible. I have this. I clean my poly painting. And what I would do is I would render this guy out. I render this. I save this path. Call it red. I would save my depth. I would save my shadow information and maybe my mask. And I don't change the camera right now. I apply another material. I render this and I call this gray. And I apply another material, let's say this gold one. You understand in a minute what I'm doing here. And we want to have some bluish one here, right? It's no work for me. I don't think about the look right now. I wanna be surprised by the look. And I render this one out. And now what I'm doing is I apply a flat color, right? And I activate again colorize. It's only Zbrush I'm showing you here, but you can use this for Blender or Maya. It's just a compositing approach. I activate colorize here and say polypaint from polygroup. I just fill this with the pure white color and polypaint from polygroups. And I render this out without shadow as well. And I render this. And I call this one render path separator. I know. Okay, and then I would go to Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, and I load my paths into this. And you can also use this technique in After Effects if you want. And I'm starting a composition. I copy this to this, and I copy this to the comp. And it's totally simple and totally obvious, but it's the best. It's one approach to work, and to have control in the post over your layers. Okay, I have a stack now. This and this and this and this, and I want to have. I want to try out this combined with this, and I say, okay, let's select this color. It's easy. It's nothing you wouldn't couldn't be thinking of. I just one moment. I just create a layer, and now I can test. Okay, how does this look together combined? And I think it's a cool approach to do compositing in a new way. If I take this color, select similar, and I can experiment. I have control with the depth path. I have control over color. I have control over the shadow intensity. Let's take this path. Copy. How it looks with this color. One second. I like this look. Okay, then I reduce it. And what I use the most important render path, in my opinion, is the depth path. If I take this and apply it on top of it, and I inverse it, and do a screen right here, then I can use a depth path for using fog, right? It's just an inverted depth path. I think if you have create a demo and you render out a depth path, you can apply this as a fog layer, right? And what this also can be used for. If I want to have control, I want to have the things that are in the back of the composition should be desaturated, right? Then I can use this path to have control over the depth. So I would add a, let's say, color and UE, and I desaturate this one. And I only want to have this desaturated in the back. So I would go into my depth layer, copy it, and place it in my layer mask. And then I can adjust it. I can say, okay, where is it? There is it. I can say, where should my color correction start? So I have control over the z-axis in post-production, right? And if you want to go into After Effects, for example, and you want to have flames in the back, right? And you have a depth information. You can get a depth information out of a Kinect or via 123 Catch, or how is it called? And I think the most important part is to get out of 3D as soon as possible. I don't know what I just created, but I think it doesn't look that bad. And maybe one technique is to the old masters had painters placed mirrors behind them, and they looked at the mirror to get a new look of their image, to flip your mind, to trick your mind. I would go in there and flip it, and look what could this be? What could this be? Okay, maybe there's an eye. Maybe there's an eye. Maybe let's try to mirror this one. transform, flip horizontally. Okay, let's try this. Let's remove this part. And mirror this over. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's just work with this. I save it. Test. And I go back to ZBrush. Let's start with a new sphere. You can, let's make a face, just for the fun. Make polymesh, sorry. Let's make a face. Right. And if I want to apply a texture to this, then I would raise my resolution and click on, that's also a new feature called Go Z. Let's say Photoshop, Go Z. And I could apply these texture directly in Photoshop, right? They don't try to create a tool that's better than Photoshop, for example, but they integrate it perfectly. Oh, okay, we have no UV coordinates. Let's create ones. UV, create. Polypaint. Now it should be possible. Go Z. And we go directly into Photoshop. Right. And it's not at the right angle right now. Oh man. So you can apply directly a texture, whatever it is. No. Let's take this one. Where are we? Here. Can apply directly here. Let's say overlay. Place it, reduce it, save it. And then go back to but I'm drifting away with the concept. If you want to create stuff that's 3D printed, right? Then you can run in some problems. It's nearly perfect. The exporting tools from ZBrush. The workflow for this would be, for example, Shapeways in the Netherlands, who does 3D printing, accepts only a 1 million polygon objects, right? That's a problem, but it is like it is. And you would use the 3D print exporter. It exports stereo lithography data and cleans your model as good as possible. But I recommend to use a free tool, and it's called NetFab Basic, and you import your model there. You can do measuring. It's not perfect, and there may be more professional tools, but you open a file, import it, you run a mesh check over it, automatic repair, and then you send the 3D file to them. You can, for example, if I have it here, again, tiki ring, yeah. The workflow for this was, as I told you, I did in Blender reference cylinders, imported them into ZBrush, did the sculpting, did the reduction, the poly reduction to 1 million polygons via the decimation master, did a 3D print export. I can do this here. STL, test STL. Go to my netfab, open this here, test STL. Oh, it's still saving. Test STL. Then I would get some errors, I think, because the mesh is, has non-manifold edges or something. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, there's an attention mark. And the workflow for this is pretty simple. I go to the repair mode. I'm missing the box around here. Maybe this is because of the screen resolution right now. You clean up your mesh, you export it and send it to the company, and you choose your material. It's priced via volume, and you can choose stainless steel, gold, gold-plated stainless steel, silver, plastic, ceramic, and so on and so forth. If there are any questions, please ask me.
What errors does NetFab look for? For example, does it look whether a wall thickness is too small? Or?
Excuse me, I didn't hear it.
You said that NetFab looks for errors in the model and corrects them.
Exactly.
What sort of errors does it look for? Only the manifold errors, or for example, does it also check whether wall thickness is too small, or for other printing issues?
Oh, you got me. You got me. I don't know. I don't care. I'm an artist, and I just use it. And I'm no engineer. And you got me. I have no answer for this question. I was on the website of Shapeways, and they told me, okay, if you have problems with a 3D model, use this tool, click on repair, and be happy. Sorry, I don't have what this does, but I don't care. It works. It's
okay, so in your mind, if it goes through NetFab, then it's almost guaranteed to print without issues.
I talked to different manufacturers who do 3D printing, and they told me, Ollie, your stuff is artistical-wise really good, and we have there are so less errors in it, and I was okay, cool, thank you. Sorry, I would give you an answer what this does, but I'm an artist. It works for me. Thank you.
I'm curious about, when it comes to 3D printing,
yeah,
you can come up with shapes that would be otherwise impossible to produce.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you experimented this way, like trying to do shape that would be, the kind of shape that once you have it in your hand, people would wonder how did you create it?
I hope I get the answer right, the question right. If there are shapes that are unable to print, right? Or
No, the opposite. I think 3D printing allows you to create shapes that would be otherwise impossible with traditional production.
Exactly.
And I'm wondering if you're experimented in this direction, trying to create things that really, when you have it in your hand, you're wow.
The thing you saw here was a caduceus made for a customer of mine, right?
Can we see it on screen?
No, it's not on this hard drive. It's this little piece, and the snakes around the pole in the middle, they are they are hanging in space, only connected via 3 micro cylinders, right? And there are I'm a little bit sad of the fact that there are, if you look on Twitter, if you look on Facebook, if you look in the media, everyone is talking about 3D printing, right? But what they are forgetting is that they are printing out procedural generated forms, so tesseracts or fine meshes with super fine details to show what they can print. But they are forgetting that it's not all, you can't do everything with 3D scanner, and you have to have skills, modeling skills, artistic-wise, to take 3D printing to the next level. And I think that at the moment they are forgetting these facts. They have the Kinect and they have the 3D printing stuff. But I'm studying also a lot of anatomy stuff, right? And you heard that, for example, 1/8 of a person is the hand and the face, for example. But if you just scan a person, right? Then or make the hands of the exact anatomy size how it should be, then it doesn't look right. You have to make the hands bigger to make it look right, and you have to overdraw. I don't have the word exaggerate the features. For example, the eyes. You have to overpaint them to make them look right. If you just scan a person or use 1, 2, 3 catch or something, it's perfect, but it doesn't look right. It's like Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse doesn't pull a handkerchief out of it. It's over exaggerated, right? And this is what it makes look right. Even if it's not. And yeah, I think 1 hour is is done, and I hope it was a little bit interesting, even if I'm still super tired. But thank you.